Hello there, my name is Kirkwood. I'm the Chief Evangelist of UiPath. Today I'm joined by my colleague Lenore, who's based in South Africa, and we're going to be talking about how RPA, Robotic Process Automation, is the gateway to artificial intelligence, to AI. I'm absolutely delighted and honoured to be asked to speak at this, what is the largest AI event taking place in Africa this year. And although I'm virtual, we're going to be running a live Q&A after this 15-minute or so presentation. While I'm doing that, if you look at the box here, you will have a Q&A. So as questions occur to you, then ask the questions and Lenore and I will answer them for you after we've finished this little session. So what are we doing? What is RPA? Robotic Process Automation is a way of moving information through and between systems. It automates the boring, mundane, repetitive tasks that humans do on a day-to-day basis. The stuff that you never want to do, you have to do as part of your job, but it's not a fun thing to do. It doesn't involve any brain power, doesn't involve any relationship with customers. It's literally doing the grunt work necessary for your business to run. So what we're talking about today is bringing RPA along with other technologies to ensure that your organization can run as effectively as possible. So bringing those technologies together, the cogs, if you like, in your organization, and is something that RPA is really good at doing. So if you think about the way that technology sits within your company, you've got business process management, you've got customer relationship management, you've got enterprise resource planning, you've possibly got other technologies sitting within your organization, depending on what industry you're in. That could be back office functions in terms of procurement, human resources, finance, and so on. Could be in the mid office, in the industry specific functions that you operate in, and in the front office, into your customer service, customer experience operations. All of those technologies have brought to bear quality and efficiency within your organization. But the trouble is that many of those technologies don't talk to each other. That's what RPA does. It acts as the glue holding all those things together. There's a chap called Alex Gessos who described all the technologies in an organization as being like a Venn diagram. So you've got BPM and ERP and CRM and so on. Those technologies are never going to come together in one blob in the middle. But what they are going to do, we believe, is they're going to come very gradually closer together, as we're starting to see already. Where they overlap, that's where RPA sits. Now, if you add in artificial intelligence, RPA is traditionally very good at dealing with structured data, rules-based activities. But artificial intelligence allows you to deal with more unstructured data and broader use cases that allows you to automate more within your organization. And the way we think about it is in 4 understandings. So you've got visual understanding. The system has to understand what it's looking at on the screen in the same way that you or I do as humans. Secondly is document understanding. Understanding pieces of paper, what's on a piece of paper, and how to transact it. Because we're still wading around in paper after 40 years of the paperless office being the nirvana. There is process understanding. Understanding the way processes build up in your organization and what's automatable and in what order. And finally, there's conversational understanding. As organizations increasingly use chatbots and natural language, voice, then the system has to understand that and transact. And what's happening within the RPA market is all of those technologies are being built in to the RPA platforms. It's what Gartner described as hyper-automation. And that hyper-automation is the number one megatrend for 2020 that Gartner put out, which is amazing. That's quite a turnaround from about 18 months ago when RPA was seen by the IT people really as a distraction at best. So, how do you scale? Now, luckily, there is an organization, another analyst firm called Everest Group, who have produced a step-by-step guide. It's called the RPA Playbook. So if you Google UiPath RPA Playbook, then you'll find it. And you can download it free of charge. It's the step-by-step guide of how to scale automation throughout your organization from pilot right the way through to what they call pinnacle, which is where it's everywhere. And it's possible under very short timeframes. So one organization in the insurance market went from one UiPath robot to having automation in all of their departments within 18 months. How did they do it? They had an evangelical leader of RPA, and he went to the different departments and said, you give me your smartest person, and I'll give you smart robots back. And they did, and he did. Afterwards, he found out that the common denominator of those people is they were all gamers. They played board games and video games. So your top tip for today is once you go back to your organization, identify the gamers in your organizations because they make really good RPA developers, really good builders of robots. And you need that because there is enormous long tail, whale tail in this case, enormous long tail of activities that sit within your organization. A friend of mine called Ian Barkin, he described the way that processes build up in organizations being the same as how organizations, or how rock builds up over millions of years, sedimentary rock building up in the sea. And that process sediment is something that you need to deal with. That's where RPA can work out through the process mining and task mining what to automate and how to handle things when processes change, because processes always change over time. And through that way, you're able to automate more of the tasks that you can within your organization. And that's important because you can actually accelerate it even further by using citizen developers. So what is a citizen developer? A citizen developer is a business person who has no technical knowledge whatsoever, but they're very good at doing their job. They are the subject matter expert of their job, which most people are. If you've given them a tool that allows them to automate the bits of their job that they hate, and you do that in a very simple way using recorders or drag and drop through no-code activities, the product we call is Studio X, it allows everybody to build their own robot, to help them to do the stuff that they want to do and and automate the stuff that they don't want to do. That citizen developer activity we've seen dramatically increase over the last couple of years. So one of the very large consulting and system integration companies did a trial last year where they gave all of their US employees a UiPath robot to help them in their job. And that went so well that this year, that organization is rolling it out through the 280,000 people in that organization. So everyone will have a UiPath robot in order to help them in their day-to-day job. So, how does this work in practice? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need executive sponsorship. Everyone likes medals. Executive sponsorship is really important, and you're lucky in actually that COVID has driven digital transformation right to the top of the agenda of C-suites. So a friend of mine, Rory Gray, a friend of his is the chief executive of a Fortune 500 organization. And he said, I never really understood digital transformation. I knew we needed to do it, but I didn't really understand the mechanics of it. He said, now I do. It's my responsibility as chief executive to ensure that my organization is right at the cutting edge of what is possible digitally, because if I don't, we're in serious trouble. So the secret is to identify those processes that you can automate quickly and achieve very fast return on investment. That way, you can go to the executive and say, look, this is what we're able to do. And we're not talking months here, we're talking weeks between automating something and seeing the value of it. Sometimes it's almost instantaneous. So let me give an example within South Africa. One of our customers is Tarsus Distribution, and this is what they've managed to do with their robot.
We've implemented UiPath in our shipping department, and the ROI is quantifiable purely in speed and accuracy. What was previously taking us 3 to 4 hours to process is now taking 3 minutes, and the accuracy is perfect. This allows us scalability in terms of the number of documents we can process now. It's allowed us to start thinking very differently in terms of our strategy. We've broadened the scope of our staff. Where they used to be manual data capturers, they are now learning new skills and really looking forward to their future jobs. We named the bot Betsy in order to sort of humanize the bot. We say now that Betsy is our bestie. I think that the biggest benefit that we're going to get now is future opportunities, revenue streams in terms of new sellable solutions, as well as continuing to automate other processes within the business. My advice for anyone thinking about doing it is go for it. This is a game changer. It changes how staff interact with the business. It changes the strategy of businesses. Intelligent robotics is definitely the future.
So as you see, that's the art of the possible, and the art of the possible in Africa. So what's the future? We believe that based on what we're talking about in terms of our customers, in terms of our partners, both implementation and technology partners, and combining all of these different technologies and implementing them into our customers, and in talking to the analyst community, so the business analysts, Gartner, Forrester, Everest, IDC, and so on, we believe that every person will ultimately have their own robot. Think about it. Bill Gates in the late 70s, early 80s said that he envisioned a time when every household and every desk would have a computer. And by the way, he got laughed at. We believe that every person will have a robot, partly unattended to do the stuff, as I've mentioned, that no one wants to do, you never want to see again, and partly attended using the AI tools to help you to do the job that you want to. And in that way, you get more time, you get higher levels of employee engagement, you get better customer experience, and the costs of running your operation are lower. So that's it from me. Let's bring in Lenore now and chat about chat through the questions that you've got, and also have a look at more about what's happening within the Africa market for RPA. Lenore.